Hey guys, this is Clossi, and today I am going to be going over a game that I played today. I think it's pretty interesting. I got a new little recording device to try out. It looks like it'll work, so hopefully it'll turn out okay when I put it onto YouTube. My last video, or my last audio recording thing, kept making the audio really bad, as many of you noticed in my last video. So I had to find something else. If only a temporary replacement or a permanent replacement, I don't know. I want to see how this one turns out and see how it does. But yeah, here's the game. I played 1Q. As you can see, I was only a 1-dan in this game. I was a 2-dan for a while, and then I had like a bad weekend, and I fell down to 4Q, and that was embarrassing. So I've been working my way back up, and I'm back up to 2-dan now. But yeah, so we'll go over the game. I'm white, there is no Komi. So black went for the cross fuseki, a couple of komikus, kind of normal. Or not normal, but it's an option. Nothing crazy. High approach, and I play this joseki because I just want some corner territory. I've been liking territory a lot lately, so I take my corner. And what I want you to know what I was thinking about in the game and how I was keeping track of stuff. So for example, here in this corner, white has 14 points of territory. So bring down the edges, block this, and this right here isn't really a point because black can push and this might be taken away later. So it's about 14 points is what I usually say it is. Black looks like you got about 12 points, but not quite because there's some aji or weakness here. If black tries to kill the stone, white can X under, so black can do this, and then white can jump out this way or this way. So this high move has weakness in this area, but it's still fine because it's a 4th line with a 3rd line, and it's not trying to get solid points. If this was solid territory, this would be terrible joseki for white. But it's a good influence, so both sides are okay. Black is actually a little ahead because white does not have komi, but white has sente, so it's still fine. So I'll play a low approach. I considered a high approach, but I really didn't like giving black this solid territory, because over here it's just solid territory now. I could do this, but this is going to be even more and more difficult. The further I go, and I could do something like this and get this, or I might just get a weak group. So even assuming black doesn't have these 6 points right here, this is still 3, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 points. Solid territory over here. White still has weakness right here, so white's got 14 points. And you could probably get about 15 points up here. So 29 points. So both of white's areas are equal to this one area, and then black has 2 stones elsewhere on the board, so black's ahead. So I really didn't like this result. So I went for a low approach to get myself some points. I figured black would get some moyo, but I don't want to just force him to seal off this area for free. So I went low. This is interesting because it seals off the corner, but it doesn't. I don't know how much it works with these stones. I considered just jumping back, but there's an opening right here, a hole. So I didn't feel like white was making enough. And then black's got moyo on the right, so this is probably honte, which means proper, meaning I probably should have played this. I'm not sure yet, but according to basics, normally I would play this. But instead, I just do this. It leaves my top open, but I didn't consider that points anyway, and lets me peep into the right side. And if black defends his points here, now my position is developing a good deal faster with like that or something like that. And now this isn't so much of a problem because I have this type of move, which works really well. Having the stone here helps my position. And black chose this. This is probably the better shape. Yeah, this is the better shape. This isn't right because this is too far. White can play here later or something like that. So I did consider this, but the left side is looking pretty big. So I decided to play a little bit fancy. I'm going to leave the top open and deal with the fight up there in order to take a solid corner over here. That way black can't develop this area. And this right side's still pretty open, especially when black played this move. And if black tries to seal off his corner, then my top side becomes really big. So it kind of forces black to play on top, and then I'm hoping to get Sente to come and play the last big move. Or play the next big move, I guess. Wouldn't be exactly the last. Black plays here. This I can't say is good, because white immediately makes a 2-space extension and makes a base. And now I get what I wanted. I'm not weak, and I thought I was going to get under attack here at least a little bit. So I think black just fixed my mistake by doing that. So I don't think this is a good move at all. I was expecting more along the lines of this, and then this or this. And if I try to take away the base, we're both jumping out now, and white looks weaker than black. Because it looks like black's more on the outside. Anyway, I'm not sure how this would have played out. I was kind of debating on whether my move was good or bad. It's probably bad, but I was wanting to utilize my fighting skills because I like to fight. But yeah, this is just too simple. Okay, and now white's probably a I want to say ahead, but I don't have Komi, so white's probably caught up. So that's usually not good considering I don't have Komi. So there's already 10 points up here for white, 14 points over here, and probably another 4 points in this area. So white has about 28 points. Black has 10, 12, 14, 15 points here. Probably 4 points here. That's 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Well, let's not count this yet because this corner hasn't resolved. So 10, I said, 12, 14, 15, 19, and then probably another 10 points in here somewhere, so 29. And I said white had 28, yeah, maybe even 30 because of another 2 points in here. And then this corner hasn't resolved. So yeah, white's caught up, basically. And then black gets a little bit more territory locally, but white's developing the bottom. I'm working with the stone, so I like my position on the bottom. And then black takes a big move. White has Sente, and over here black got 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe 16 points. White got about 10. I want to say it's 15, but there's still openings in here. But it looks, if you count this area too, because you can't count the whole thing because it's not solid territory yet. But probably you're going to expect about at least 15 points over here. So it's about an even result for both. But white has Sente. So the game's even, white has Sente. So I think white's maybe slightly ahead. This move, if you notice my clock, spent looks almost 5 minutes on this move. Because I was looking how the rest of the board's going to develop. Because all the big moves and all the sides are pretty much taken. I also keep the territory in my head. And I look at the weaknesses up here. I keep track of all the weaknesses and all the territories. That's important to do. I considered pushing black, but I wasn't sure how much I'd gain out of this. I mean, it's probably a good time to just fix my shape up here. But I did not want to risk losing Sente for only like 4 or 5 points. Because this if I attack, I really need to get profit, or I should just play a big Sentai move. Or I should just take Sentai and play a big move that's worth a lot of points. So I couldn't see how to use this attack like super effectively. And it didn't look like black was going to attack me very severely either. So I started thinking the area I can develop is the bottom, and the area black wants to develop is the right. So naturally you want to play in between these two areas. I also considered trying to take this corner, but it's Gote. It's like a 20-point move, 10 points for both sides, so 20-point move. But it's just 20 points. It doesn't affect the rest of the board. And I wanted to do something that would take control of the center, because if your opponent gets control, then you're going to be having to play catch-up. This is territory, but it's limited territory. The center is potential, and it can either become bigger or smaller than actual territory. The center is really confusing. It's hard to keep track of the center. But the reason I spent so long thinking about this is because this peep right here, if black tries to do something fancy, I'm going to take away all of his points. And that's a lot of just solid points to lose. And he's supposed to make up, what, 10 to 15 points over here from this attack? Not likely. So I expect him to block with this move or this move. And then from there, I'm going to play Imoyo or something like this. But the thing is, I'm losing this Aji in the process. And remember Aji's weakness. So I'm going to force him to make this solid territory, meaning I won't be able to take it away later now. So I have to gain something equal to or greater than this if I'm going to force him to make it territory. That's something you really want to watch out for, is forcing your opponent to make solid points, and removing their Aji without gaining something is a terrible idea. But I considered this worth it because of my follow-up here. And I thought this was big enough to make up for the right side. And I'm pretty confident I was right, because my area is developing rather nicely now. I mean, it's not solid points yet, but it's looking pretty nice. Now black played here. This is strange. If I was going to play on this stone, I would play like right here, but it's not really the right area to play. I'm not sure if white can do anything to this. Maybe white can do something right here, but I really want to get to this move. Black really needs to get to this side now. If white gets both sides, white will take complete control of the center. Here it's kind of a little bit of moyo versus a little bit of moyo, and then something like this might play out. But this looks sort of good for black because he's on the outside, but black's forcing white to turn this into solid territory. So it's hard to say who it's good for, but then black has this to make the center. White also has reducing moves like this, and like this, or this kind of stuff. So there's several things to think about. I knew this move was here, and I was trying to think of a counter response, maybe something like this. Then there's this kind of stuff. Maybe I could give up 2 stones. How much could I give up here before it's too much? Count, like read this, count how much this is worth, how much I got, how much am I getting in the center, how much did he get in the center, and then recalculate the board. That's basically what Dons do when they read. Well, is what they're supposed to do. A lot of Dons on KGS blitz, so there's not much calculating going on anymore. It's just instincts and basic strategy. But in tournaments, as far as I know, almost all the Dons will calculate a lot. And this is what you need to do. You need to read this out, and it's kind of a straightforward variation. It's not too many branches of this, for this exact move anyway. You can kind of expect black to want to play this way, and then you'll count how much this is worth. Then you'll assume your opponent also counted this. If you gain more, you need to look for a counter within this for black. Like if this was too good for white, black would try and find a counter. So maybe black will not play right here. Black will probably make Black might possibly say this is too small and then play the here. You need to take that into account. You also need to take into account, and if that's not good enough, then you find a different move. That's the last thing you take into account. So you find a move, read it, see how it plays out, find all the weaknesses and stuff like that, count it, see if it's worth it or not, then assume your opponent's gonna count it as well. Then you need to look for, is there a counter strategy, or is this good enough that my opponent will play it? If it is good enough, then you can say whether or not you want to play this variation or not. If it's not good enough and your opponent counters, then you need to look at that variation, then see if you can counter back, and eventually you'll arrive at the branch that you can expect to pretty much happen, almost guaranteed. Then you'll calculate that branch, and it's done a lot quicker than this. It's taken me a long time to explain just because I'm trying to explain it right. But once you calculate that branch, you'll see, is it worth playing or not, and then you'll go back to the start, which is here, and say, okay, if that move wasn't good enough, then what other move is there to play? Maybe a cap or something along those lines. And if there's just not a good move here, I might just play this, then see what my opponent does. If he responds, I can go here. If he goes here, I can then reduce instead of doing this. And you'll just read different branches. That's why in big tournaments, that's why a lot of high-don players need so many hours on their clock, is because they're reading, calculating, seeing all this stuff. And you'll also need to read and calculate sort of quickly because you are on a limited clock time. But it doesn't take nearly as long to actually do it as it does to explain it. But this move, it doesn't look like there was much thought into this move. Yeah, a whole 8 seconds. This move just doesn't seem like it does much. It forces white to make his side more solid. Black gained a point, maybe. I mean, I just don't think this is the right direction, and it's not understanding stuff properly. Then black plays here. This is a big move, granted, but I still think the center is bigger. I think I did make a mistake here, though, because I played here. I'm thinking I should try and fight this out somehow, and then try and get Sente to get back over here. So black played here. So now white should try and fight for Sente to get back over here. The reason I didn't do this is because this is going to risk a lot of territory in the corner. It's like a whole, 10 points of solid territory plus my base in the corner. I was worried about black doing something like this. Now what does white do? Here. Okay, white lives in the corner, or black lives in the corner. Now what is white going to do? Tanuki and get the big move? Not sure if that's a good idea. Look how weak white is. So I just didn't like this idea. I'm not positive. Theoretically, this shouldn't be a good move for black, but it looks like it was pretty nicely timed because white's kind of inclined to respond. And that was a good 5 points of territory right there in Sente. So it was either a really nice move or I just didn't respond correctly. But as it played out, it was a good move because now black can get back to still do this, and he just got that for free. There's also here. No, his move is good. If I respond like I respond, his move's good. But this move's not good because white still has a base. You're not going to take away that base. So, whoa, where did I play? Oh, I did that Sente first. Okay. So white's going to play the big move, and I'll explain that other move in a second. What's black's follow-up? Is black going to kill you? No. You're not going to die. You can make 2 eyes really easily here. Is black going to try and attack you? Well, good luck with that. How are you going to attack this group and gain enough profit to make up for this move? Is there a way to take away this eye? Not really. Here's this type of stuff. Okay, 1 eye. I'm already half alive. Better ways here. You gonna try and attack me? Well, good luck. Now you gotta save this stone. Okay, well, now you're losing territory. Okay, white's out. Not gonna kill me. You didn't gain hardly any profit at all. I get the big move. So, this move can't be good. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna become so weak that I'm gonna potentially die, and you can't attack me enough to gain enough profit to make it for this move, so this is a mistake. So I played this in Sente first, just to make my wall a little bit bigger, because this is still a big move. And if I can fix it in Sente, why not? Because I know this is not worth, not that. This. All of this territory is now gone. Black has to fix, white gets help. Black wants to take this stone, okay. I can double it right here. That's a lot of points. Okay, well, I just reduced a lot. Then I also have, okay, no doubt. And then there's this move. Black kind of go here. Got a ladder right here, so black wants to save that. Okay, tarry this. Now these two stones are dying. So there's this problem. I can ladder. Yep, that works. Wait. There. No, it doesn't work. Oh well. Here. Okay, 15 points territory gone. Here. Now what? Here? That's easy enough. Here? Okay, you died. Point is, there's way too much Aji in this area, and you're just going to lose your territory. Somehow, someway, you'll lose your territory here. I know, without reading, this is Sente. Okay, I read a little bit, but still. This is Sente. He thought so too. So I go here. I get the big move. Yada yada. He plays here. I could have ignored this, but he just made me live. Because I already have an eye in the corner, right? And here's the second eye. Now, no matter what, sure he can peep and do some Aji or do some Yose stuff, but that's not the point. No matter what stones happen around this area, this group in the corner is alive. There's only one option left in here for black, and that is... what was it? Here. I don't even think there is an option anymore. Anyway, point being, this group is now completely alive. Even if there was some little something up here. I thought there was a co up here to take away the second eye, but you would have to get like 20 stones around here. This group's alive. It's just alive. So I figure, why not? Now I don't have to worry about this group for the rest of the game. Black plays a big move. This is a pretty big move. It's also Sente. And now black plays another slow move. So this is taking away the base. You think taking away the base is going to be big enough? I don't think so. So I play this move. I'm peeping this territory again, this humongous territory. I just keep threatening to get inside and take away so many points. And then I peep this side. And I could have jumped here. It's kind of Sente. And kept going. But there's annoying weakness here. And then the stones on top are under attack. So I know my center is big. Now, if you've been keeping track of the counting, which I'm not sure if you have or not, but in the game I was keeping track of the score the entire time. That's important to do. Even once you hit 5Q, you should start learning how to count, and then from there on, you just never stop counting. Even though people say that they're lazy to count, Dons will say they're too lazy to count, and a lot of them are, but you're not going to play a superb game if you don't count. Because you just can't keep track of what's going on if you don't even know the score of the game. And another point, your counting will also improve greatly, and your understanding of the score and territory will improve greatly if you just count every single game that you play. That's why I don't recommend ever playing blitz games, which means to play with very low time limits to where you have to play very fast, because you just don't get to exercise your reading, your counting, your judgment, all that good stuff. It's just not good exercise. There are people who will say that it's good to blitz to build your instincts. I can't disagree with this, because there are times when in tournaments your time settings will get low, or your time will get low. Then you're just going to have to rely on basic instincts. You won't be able to judge as accurately as if you had 2 hours on your clock versus 30 minutes on your clock. So building instincts is good, and time management is good, but I've just never been a fan of blitzing. If you think blitzing is good to build your basics, then you can do it, but if you do it, I will say this, if you do it, I'm not going to tell you not to do it, because if you think it's good for you, by all means. But you must play slow games as well. You must balance them out, because slow games are what you're going to play in tournaments, almost always. You need to develop your what in the world did I just say? Counting, judgment, reading, all of those abilities. You need to practice them in thinking games. So make sure you do that. But yeah, I played this just to fix my whole right side. Now I have no weaknesses on the board. Some people may think of this, but nah, this isn't much of a weakness. I mean, what now? So I fixed all my weaknesses, and I kind of expected black to come in and reduce now here, maybe here, but he played here. It's slightly too deep, because this is behind enemy lines. The line of the moyo is about right here. Some might say it's right here, but there's Aji right here, so you can't. I wouldn't really count that stone. I'd say the line of the moyo is right here. So I think this is the right move to reduce this area. And if you counted, white is slightly ahead by like 5 or 10 points. And now black's going to reduce, so I'll get to push him around. He's going to force me to make solid territory in this area. And then if I play it right, I should get Sente out of this. But here, this is a little too deep. And I play here. This shape looks wrong. Quote my word, looks. Because it looks like black can go through it here. Oh, now black's getting into all my territory. But I wonder, how much territory did I lose versus how much I gained over here? I'm not going to die. See, I could come out right here. I mean, lamest terms, I just connect, then reduce this. He gained a few points here, he reduced here, but I gained all of this over here. I already saw this, and I'm sure my opponent saw it too. This is just not good enough for black. So that's why I played this. So black has to run out now. And no, that's not the move. And black plays here. Here, this is a mistake. I'm trying to think of a polite way to say this. This is a mistake of... Okay, first off, the mistake was here, so we can't do much about it. But This is super easy for white to deal with if you kept track of the territory in your head. As soon as I cut, I have more than 10 to 15 point lead on black, which is super easy. Well, should be super easy to win unless I make a mistake somewhere. So as long as I keep calm, play strong, play a good yose, 10-point lead is pretty good. I mean, 5-point lead is pretty comfortable in its own, but you always have to worry that you'll make some little mistake and lose 5 points somewhere. 10 points, you have to make a pretty big mistake to lose 10 points. And here it looks like I'm starting to get to 15 points ahead. So this move just won't cut it. Okay, now I'll go here. You might think, why did I not go here? Good question. But look at this Aji. Remember, I said this was okay because I would get this, yeah. And I'm not saying do it now because obviously there's a weak group. But there's Aji right here that I'm going to have to deal with at some point. So why not lose 2 points locally and deal with almost all of the Aji now? This makes it so much easier to deal with this stone. It'll cost me 2 points, but whatever, right? I mean, 2 points versus possible 7 to 10 points. I'll take it. And black now has a weak group. White got the territory, so I'm doing pretty good. Black jumps out, okay. This is Sente because it threatens to jump in. Okay. This moves slightly better, it looks like. I peep this, push in, and I attack this while also looking at this group up here. Also, I'm fixing my weakness up here, because there's still possibilities right here. Later, not now. So he gets out, I keep him weak. Now I peep the top group as well as this. He jumps, otherwise I'll Hane right here. And then I take my profit up here. Now he makes life, peep this, fix my base up here, and I am guaranteed, I think I counted I was like 15 to 17 points ahead here, and from this point on, I will admit, I stopped counting exactly because I just knew I was a good deal ahead. So unless something major changed, I wasn't going to count the entire board. Again, it's probably not recommended. I mean, if I had a lot more time on my clock, more than 6 or 7 minutes, I'd probably keep counting to the exact scores or as close as I could get. But for now, I just knew I was a good deal ahead. Okay, he fixed here. Not sure that he needed this. So I fix here because as you can see, there's black stones coming around. Now any Aji in here, I don't want it mysteriously popping up. So I just fix, take 8 points of solid territory, and I'm happy. And he does this. I think he thought I was attacking his group, but it's kind of hard to attack that group. There is weakness. I mean, white can still take the eye here. But so this is a fine move. But he's losing. I would play a risky move and start playing yose. Take Sente and yose and just deal with that group later. If you count and you're losing, you need to start doing something about it. Maybe take some risk. You're losing, you need to take some risk. Okay, he does this. So I take my Sente, I take the corner. Not sure how good this was. I thought he would go here, but, and then something like this. I thought it was going to do something like that, but I just fixed it. I was like, oh, okay. Then he lost Sente. See, he needs to go like right here. Or right here. He needs to take Sente. But he played here. Well, I'll take Sente then. That's a big move. That's Sente. He tried to cut. Okay. He gained profit right there. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8 points. It's fine. 8 points territory, and I'll take Sente and yose. So here's 2 points. Oh no. 4 points. Another 4 points, I think. So there's 8 points right there. Okay, does that? Okay. And then my opponent timed out. I'm not sure what happened, but he timed out. If you count the board, though, white's a good deal ahead. I mean, I'm a good deal ahead, so I'm fine. I mean, I don't mind that he lost by time, just because he was going to lose anyway, as long as I didn't play anything stupid. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and as you can see here, I made 2-dan. I'm 2-dan again. In the AGA, I'm actually 4-dan, so I'm trying to work my way back up to 3-dan and 4-dan on KGS. I had another account that was at 3-dan for a while, but then school started up and I fell back to 2-dan. And right now, dealing with college and stuff, it's really hard to play games. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I do not mean to be disrespectful to any 1Qs or my 1Q opponent. It's just I saw mistakes and I wanted to explain them. He is still a 1Q, so he is still as strong as 1Qs. So don't think he's some super weak opponent or he's too weak to be 1Q. He is a 1Q. His fighting ability is that of a 1Q. I mean, over here, that was a good move, probably. I mean, he kept track of the balance more or less in the start of the game. Just didn't look like he counted as much. But I'm not trying to say 1Qs are bad or that this guy was bad. But this is the 1Q level. And I was trying to explain my thinking in the game and how I won this game. So don't underestimate 1Qs, but also learn from this so you learn how to be stronger than 1Q and play at the Dan level. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.